how much you want to talk about that, or if you've got other people you want to talk about those technologies. But I'll tell you that I'm convinced that that's one of the first things that somebody could do to deal with the particulates and the chemicals and the odors, something holistically, proactively that could be put in the environment to actually purify the air. So I think those two, to me, those two things kind of go hand in hand. One is do the best you can to seal up the environment with, again, weather stripping, caulking, saddles on the doors, exterior doors to close up the thresholds and keep those tighter. Put on insulators on the electrical outlets to make sure you're not pulling air in from the wall cavities. Those kinds of things to me is absolutely a first step. And then the second step would be make sure that I've got really, really good air purification technology, something that's got a good HEPA filter, got a good PCO technology or ionization technology that's going to get rid of those chemicals and those odors and those particulates. Something holistically, proactively dealing with the air quality. That's where I would be.
I agree with you completely. Actually, I did an interview for one of the segments with Michael Pinto. I think I may have mentioned that. And besides just talking about the sensitized individuals, we talked about, and I don't want to talk too much about the episode, but a safe room. You know, just like you would have for a tornado or a hurricane or a severe event going on, one smaller area that you can protect even more than the other areas. And that's something else you can do depending on your situation.
You know, the interesting thing about this is just from every kind of, like I said, I'm not a health professional, but I do know that one of the reasons why we do so well when we sleep well is because when we sleep well, it builds up our immune system. It strengthens us when we get a really good night's sleep. And I feel the same way about our indoor environments. If I can create a safe environment in which I can breathe good quality, clean air, at least as good as I can, compared to what might be going on outside, or just like drinking purified water over a long period of time, when I'm exposed to that bad water at the restaurant or somewhere else, one time, it's not going to affect me because my immune system is strong enough to be able to deal with those periodic times that I'm having to deal with contamination. So I think in the long run, it's creating a lifestyle in which I'm creating the cleanest, healthiest, safest indoor environment I can for myself in every way that I can, so that when those times come where I can't control the environment, at least my defenses are up to a point and my immune system is strong enough that I can deal with those issues. And I think that's the idea of the safe room. I'm big on creating a safe house.
And I agree. You know, it's like layers of an onion. You just keep putting more layers of protection out there to help and keep you in the best possible situation that you can be in.
That's right.
So Mayor, I believe it was Adams from New York City, talked about good filters or putting a filter in their house. Again, it's a step, it's a layer, but does it really deal with all of it?
No, and I think that's sometimes the wrong impression is left. I remember back during COVID, you probably remember too, Dr. Fauci talked about going and getting a filter. Nothing wrong with getting a filter. I mean, a HEPA filter is a great, or a HEPA grade filter is a great product to use to take larger particulate out of the air. In some cases, smaller particulate, depending on how effective it is. But in terms of indoor air quality, there's got to be something in addition to that that will actually oxidize a lot of the smaller chemicals and viruses and those sorts of things. So I think you've got to take it to the next level, and that's the idea of having more holistic solution than just having a filter. I kind of laughed the other day, Lance. I was looking at somebody that had actually built an air purifier. This was their concept of an air purifier. They took 4 filters and taped them together, large filters like you would have in your air conditioning system. They took 4 of them, taped them together in a box, like a cube, and then put a box fan on top of it. And they said, see, we're sucking the air through the filters and now everything's great.
You know, it's that dual track or partial logic that people fall into. The people that were wearing the paper towel masks when COVID came out. See, I have a mask on.
Exactly.
Yes, you do. Is it doing anything for you? No. And that's kind of where we're at with this. People have to be very cautious as to their information sources. I mean, the internet's out there for everybody, but somebody says, here's a widget that'll take care of this for you. Well, it takes care of a part of it, but is that enough? Is that enough for you to now say, I'm wearing my paper mask and I'm going to go out into the smoke-filled environment because I'm wearing my mask?
Yeah.
It does nothing for your eyes or even filter anything. So it's a concern that, people look for reliable sources of information, and think through the process. Again, the dirty glass of water, the cloudy water, you're not going to drink that, but if I filter it, the chemicals are still going to be in there.
Right.
You're just not going to see the sediment that makes it look bad. Same thing with the smoke. The statistics as of now on the fires in the United States and in Canada separately, they both burn between 6.5 and 7.5 million acres of forest a year. It's a massive amount. To date, not even 6 full months through the year, Canada's burned almost 9.5 million acres. So it's 1.5 times in 6 months instead of 12 what they've burned so far.
Incredible.
California right now has had a shift in weather. I was just talking, like I said, with Dan from California, and he says that the weather out there is gorgeous. It's cooler, it's not that hot, but that's going to change. And this is just what's happening. In the Northeast, we haven't had rain here in 3.5, almost 4 weeks. It is bone dry out. A small brush fire right now could become a very large concern. And again, the air quality, the ash that's already out there, the film on the cars, the film that people keep stirring up when they walk out there, we're still breathing that, even though it looks nice out. So keep that in mind.
Well, I wish people would talk more about indoor air quality and as much as they talk about outdoor air quality, because again, indoor air quality is something that you can control. Outdoor air quality, a little more difficult.
Well, what the biggest problem that we've always talked about with indoor air quality is people become nose blind. 5 minutes in your environment, you don't smell the odor that somebody coming over would say, oh, what is that smell? And you go, what smell? What are you talking about? And outdoors is completely different because it's so large. It's not where you feel closed in and you're breathing, which is fine. The only time people complain is when they see the yellow forming on their cars from the pollen, when those pollen seasons hit. But other than that, people take it for granted that it's always going to be there for them.
Yeah.
That's the false sense of security of the paper mask, or it's always going to be good until it isn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I think we've got an opportunity to address this in a very positive way. And the truth is that if people would take the time to create cleaner, safer, healthier indoor environments, that's going to be long lasting. And that's going to help them in a lot of different ways when the next issue comes our way.
Absolutely. Doug, I appreciate you spending the time with us here today. And
great to talk to you.
And we will chat again in the future.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Trade Talks Unlocking the Experience. I am Kayla McGowan, editor-in-chief for R&R and responsible for the sessions at the Experience. So today's special guest is Brandon Adams. Many of you may know him, but for those of you who don't, He's been in the industry for over 10 years, close to 12 years now, I believe. He was mentored and is continuing to be mentored by Rachel Adams and Mike Adams. He started his career very young by cleaning fans